This
computer down.
conference will now be recorded.
I had to shut my computer down and then subsequently turn my computer back on, which it took a little bit of time. So that's where the late call comes from, the 9 minutes being late. So I do apologize for being late on the call, but unfortunately, my computer is acting like computers do at times, and it was not working the way I needed it to. So I literally, once again, had to shut it down, take the battery off, give it a little bit, put the battery back on, and then just restart the computer because I couldn't get my cursor to work, the mouse. So I apologize for being late. So, anyways, you guys, I am here on this gorgeous ass Monday. It is beautiful here. I don't know what it's looking like where you're at, but here in Fountain Valley, California, it's looking pretty good to me. It's looking really good to me, quite honestly. I was out and about early this morning. You know, as you all know, my wife and I go to the park and walk or jog, you know, at the park. And then, you know, just to get our day started. And it's just an awesome thing. So today, I really want to continue with the whole series on moving mountains. All right. So our objective is in this moving mountains series is understanding that we, you and I, have the ability to move mountains, whether it's like I was this morning because I was up, I was, you know, really tired from doing a lot of things over the weekend. So, and then I woke up real early this morning, and couldn't go back to sleep because my mind was racing. But, you know, when my wife was like, hey, well, do you feel like going to the park? And I went ahead and just said, yes, I want to go to the park because my new saying is because I'm moving mountains, right? And so that's what I said to her. And she was like, oh, that's cool. Okay, let's make this happen. So I got up and didn't feel like it. Believe me, I didn't feel like it. But I got up out of bed and took my fat butt to the park. And once the sun started hitting me and just, you know, getting that fresh air in me, man, I just feel like a whole new person. I mean, the way I felt when I was in bed to the way I felt 30 minutes later, it's quite amazing, right? So I would not have had that amazing feeling if I didn't get up and make that move, if I didn't get up and push forward. So one of the things that I'm noticing, and I want you guys to really understand what I'm trying to get across to you all, and that is that as we go through our daily life, the more yeses we give to ourselves, the more positive we give to ourselves during the course of the day, the more mountains or the more hurdles we go over without even realizing that we're going over them, right? So the inconsequential things that we normally put or allow to become barriers in our existence, you know, become just what they are, inconsequential, meaning nothing to us in the real world, right? So, but we all, including myself, put up these barriers to our achieving whatever it is that we're striving to achieve, to whatever direction we're trying to go in. And we literally have to start just giving ourselves more yeses. So I was having this conversation. A client, or a potential client actually, came out from Texas, and I met her and her mother for lunch on Friday. And the deal was that so she was out here, you know, so I drove a little while, they drove a little while. We met somewhat in the middle and had lunch together. talked a little business, but talks a little bit just about everything. Since she's going to spend money with me, I guess she just wanted to meet me, which is not one of my norms. I don't really meet a lot of people, but it was a good thing for me because I'm in the house a lot. So the thing is that by going out and meeting this young lady and her mother, enjoyed myself. But my first thought, honestly, was, I don't feel like going. I don't feel like going. I don't feel like, either she's going to do business with me or she's not. That was really my first thought. And so what I chose to do was move in the positive, right? So moving in the positive is, I was like, well, what else am I doing today? I'm doing some work on the computer. I'm doing, some stuff on a couple of our businesses, talking to clients on the phone. None of that would preclude me or stop me from going out and having lunch with this young lady. So I can tell you, after having a 2-hour lunch, I actually like 2.5 hours. We met in Riverside at 11 o'clock, had lunch and conversation, didn't leave there until 1:30. So the point is that because of that, I'm positioned now to make several $1,000s off of this, young lady by working with her. I'm not going to say wouldn't have happened, but it would have been possibly more difficult to get the money that I'm looking for, right, from working with her, from coaching her, from her buying our $5,000 program. It would be a little bit more difficult if I had not just went out and just had lunch and quite honestly enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed myself. And so, she's like, hey, Pascal, on Tuesday, when she gets back she'll be getting back to Texas today. And then on Tuesday, meaning tomorrow, she's going to give me a call and we're going to move forward. I mean, if I had allowed my silliness, my little, roadblocks, my mountains, if you will, to stay there in front of me, then I would not have this greater potential because, obviously the money is not mine until it's in my account, right? So, but the potential now of getting those thousands of dollars from her to me is tenfold, right? It's only because I chose to get out of my own way. And I keep on saying this in this series of moving mountains, is that it is imperative that we get out of our own way. So, this is so, it's just so ingrained in us. And it's, there's these setting up these roadblocks is ingrained in us because we've been told for so long that we, you and I, the world is hard. Things are difficult. Times are hard. Pick it. I mean, we're told when the economy is good, when the economy is bad. We're told or trained, how we should be thinking. We are trained and told, when to go to bed, when to get up, what's good for you, what's not good for you. All these different things. And what I'm learning, the more I listen to people that know far more than I do, just leaps and bounds. They're so far ahead of me. Is that all of that stuff, all of it is just bullshit that other people have put upon you, right? And within you have absolutely, and I keep on getting this over and over and over again, the more I read, the more I listen to people, over and over and over again, is that you have in you everything that you need right here, right now, to accomplish or do whatever it is that you so desire. And the deal is that you have to start getting out of your own way. You have to start creating this new you, this new persona. You have to start retraining yourself, redeveloping yourself, understanding that you have the potential to do whatever it is that you want to do. And so for me, part of expanding and becoming that person that I so desire to be means that I have to, once again, get out of my own way, right? Move that mountain, get out of my own way. I have to start allowing myself to become that person that I choose to be, or that I say that I want to be. And you, me, everybody else on the planet has that ability to do that. We all have that ability. And one of the things that I keep on, in my research is that it almost doesn't matter what your belief system is. I mean, you could be Buddhist, you could be Christian, you could be you could read the I Ching, you could be pick one, I don't know, Muslim, you could be whatever. It doesn't matter, because all of them, to some degree or another, say very similar things, right? They're all ancient, very old, for me, philosophies, right? So for you, it's your belief system. For me, it's a philosophy of living, and it's just a way of living. And so one of the things for the people that, and you can find this verbiage across the board in some of the oldest religions, some of, Zoroastrianism, pick a religion realistically, and you can find verbiage that's similar to what I'm about to give you. And so this is a verse, right? So this verse is from Psalms chapter 82, verse 6. And I want you guys to look this up, because I don't ever want you to just take what I say and just say, well, Pascal said it, so, it's either true if you believe what I tell you, or it's false. I want you to take what I say and then research it. And there's a couple of reasons for doing that. When you do that, what happens is that it will sink into your subconscious, right? It becomes a part of you more so than anything else you can do. Research and study becomes a part of you, because it goes into your subconscious mind. When you just hear stuff, if there's no emotional attachment to it, then it probably won't become a part of you. It probably won't lock into your mind and become a part of you. So I'm just going to run through this really, really, really quick. And this is just a fraction of it, because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. But what I'm telling you is you can find what I'm about to read to you in multiple religious beliefs, the Torah, the Old Testament, New Testament, different variations of it. And so this is from Psalms 82, verse 6, right? And so it says, I said, all of you are gods. All of you are children of the Most High. So key phrasing there, and they have it in quotation marks, right? And it says, you are God, right? And so it's referring to you, it's referring to me. But what happens is, I have found personally in belief systems, in religion, what we are taught is that it's never that stuff. It's never, where the Bible, if you're a Christian, the Bible itself is they when do they ever read that to you? And, chapter and verse telling you that, and this is supposedly God talking, right? So I'm not a biblical scholar, but from what my research, from what I've heard from people who, supposedly are, they're saying that in Psalms that's supposedly God talking, right? So, if this is your belief system, or if you just take it as a philosophy, as a thought process as I do. And if it is saying to you that God, in your belief system, if you're a Christian, that God is saying that you are God, child of the Most High, right? So why don't we act in that manner? Why don't we believe? Because, there are other verses in the Bible where it says that you can do as God does, right? Jesus says, Yahshua, you can call it whatever you want. The proper is Yahushua or Yahshua, right? So, but people refer to him as Jesus. So, but it's said that you can do all things. You have the ability of miracles within you, right? So all these things that I do, I'm just paraphrasing, all these things that I do, you can do, and it's important that whether you look at this as a philosophy, as I do, or you look at it as a belief system, regardless of what your belief system is, Hindu, if you follow Krishna, whatever it is, it's important that you understand that the underlying theme is that you have the ability to accomplish and do all things, right? You have the ability to go over whatever mountain. I mean, you all know, everyone has heard this one, with the faith of a mustard seed. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen a mustard seed, but it's not much bigger than a pinhead, right? It's a very small thing. And so it is said that with the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And people, we don't take these things that have been written, these ancient philosophies or thought processes or belief systems, whatever you want to refer to it as literal. We take them as, that's just something somebody said a long time ago, and just to let us know, that there's something to this belief system that I have. But I'm telling you guys, that is the wrong attitude, right? Whether you look at it as a religious belief or you look at it as a philosophy, you have to understand that all of this is based in some factual form, because the philosophy of the mind, people read Think and Grow Rich, and people read what is this, Wallace Walliford, which is actually, you guys need to look it up. It's old as dirt. It was written in the 1920s, but a book by Wallace Walliford, and it all of it deals with the mind and what you can do with it. It deals with the power of the mind, and all of it tells you that within a blink of an eye that you can change your position. You can literally think to yourself in the matter of a millisecond that I want to go to the left, and then turn to the left and go that direction. Well, it is the exact same thing with every other aspect of our existence. Now, I'm not saying to you that you're going to be able to think and say, I want $1 million or $1 billion or $1 trillion, and it's going to come to you in some blink of an eye or a matter of seconds or something of that nature. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying to you is that when you change your thought, when you move in another direction, then that's when you start manifesting, right? So the mind process, and then subsequently creating the physical of whatever it is. And as long as you are moving in that direction and doing what's necessary, then you will eventually create that thing. As long as you have that belief. And I believe this wholeheartedly. And the reason I do is because in my own existence, in my own life, my own world, I am constantly seeing, and I don't always appreciate it. I'm going to tell you that's That is a true thing, which is a problem with me, is that I don't always appreciate, what does come to me, right? It just, because it comes, and so therefore, I'm not as thankful for it as I should be, because I have positioned myself so that stuff comes, it happens. And then, in the beginning, when you're developing whatever it is, so when people, let's say they start a business, let's call it I don't know, you're an accountant or what have you. So you're doing taxes, you're starting off, you're struggling, times are hard, it's hard to get clients. And then over a period of time, you've developed a healthy amount of clients. You've even gotten to the point where, where you are living very well. And you have an abundance of business. You have an abundance of financial growth and reward, right? So what tends to happen with us as human beings is that, the struggle to get to that point was extremely hard. The struggle to get to that point took your concentration. It took your emotional, everything, right? I mean, you literally, moments when you're damn near just broken down, stressed out, crying, just you're at your wit's end, and you're just like, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna make this shit work. This is the business I'm in. I'm gonna make it work. And then you get to the point where it's working. Then you get to the point where you're thriving. And the thing is that when we get to the point where it's working and beyond that, right, where it's actually thriving, we forget about the struggle. And so we become comfortable. And when we become comfortable, we no longer respect the fact that we are where we are. We no longer are as grateful for being where we're at, because we just expect it to be. Does that make sense? We expect it to be because that's where we're at. So, before you had a job and it was a good job, I mean, I can't tell you how many people in my life and in my entire life that I've met, including myself. So I'm mainly putting me in this, where I have gotten a job, and before I got the job, I mean, man, I just like, oh my God, if they just give me this job, I could do this, I could do that. I mean, it's like in a state of desperation and panic for that job. And so ultimately, once I got the job, once I passed whatever probation period they had, once I got comfortable in that job, then I started, talking shit about the job. Then I started like, these motherfuckers tell me one more time that X, Y, and Z, I'll walk up out of here. I don't know who they think they're talking to, that they this, that they that, because I would lose my gratefulness for that position. I would lose my being thankful for the fact that someone gave me a job when I needed it, when I desired it, and once I got it, then I started, and once I got comfortable in it, then I started just kind of saying, right? And so the same thing happens, whether you're working a job, whether whether you started a business and that business is subsequently generating you the amounts of money that you want, to support yourself in the way you so desire. All of us, unfortunately, become ungrateful, right, for that positioning. And so here's the whole thing. I'm going to kind of tie everything that I've been saying together. The deal is that for us to grow, no matter where we're at, you have to be grateful constantly and continuously. I'm not saying that you have to stay where you're at. I'm not saying that you have to keep the job that you have. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that we have to learn to be grateful for what we have accomplished, because that gratefulness and being in a state of grace every day, in the state of being grateful every day for what we've accomplished, whether it's getting a job that ultimately, we don't like, but we took it because, we needed it. It's supporting us and so on and so forth. Or we've built our business to a certain point and then we become somewhat ungrateful that, we have it. It just becomes not even a thought any longer. It just becomes, this business does X for me. Well, when you lose that gratefulness, you are sliding backwards, and you're actually positioning yourself for a fall. We have to stay in a state of grace, in a state of gratefulness, because when we stay in that state of gratefulness, right, or state of grace, then what happens is we are constantly, while you're in that state of grace, we are constantly opening the door for greater things to come our way, right? We are constantly opening the door for bigger things to come to us. Whether if it's in the job, it's going to be a promotion. If it's in your business, it's going to be more business. If it's in every aspect of our life, this works. Being in a state of grace, in a state of gratefulness. If you go back to what I was saying in the very beginning, when I read to you, Psalms, right? The thing is that when you understand, and this is not me talking, this is your Bible, right? Where it is saying that you are God, children of the Most High. That you have to be, in order to maintain that, you have to be in a state of grace. You have to be in a state of thankfulness, right? You literally have to bless yourself, so to speak, and understand that your ability to do whatever it is that you so desire stems from that place of grace, from that place of thankfulness. And part of this whole moving mountains thing that we've been talking about, this series that we started last week, Moving Mountains, part of it is the emotional attachment that we have to have in the process of moving and developing us, right? So if you're in a state of grace, in a state of gratefulness, you have to attach an emotional factor to it, because other than that, it's just talk, right? So people pray, or they meditate, or they have these mantras, and it doesn't mean a damn thing. You can mantra your ass off. You can pray your ass off. You can meditate your ass off. But if there is no emotional attachment and you're not connecting that to your higher power, to your conscious and subconscious minds, it means absolutely nothing. Because people pray literally every day. There's probably 50 billion prayers, between prayers and meditations that are going out into the universe every day. And I believe in my gut, in my heart, in my soul, that the reason they don't mean shit, and the reason that there's just so many of them that are just, unfulfilled, is because there's no sincerity to it. It's people, we do things just out of the fact that, we've been trained to do them, or we've been told that's the way to go. The only time things change is when you, if you have that moment of thought, you have that, you can call it a prayer, you can call it a meditation, but when you have that moment of thought and you have a deep attachment to that thought, and you feel it in you, in your gut, in your heart, in your brain, in your body. You're just like, oh my God, please, I just need to make whatever it is happen. I just need this to happen. I need X, Y, Z to occur. Whatever it is for you, right? That's when you've connected to your subconscious, to your emotional, to your feeling, to your higher level. And when you've done that, that's when things seem to change. And that's the way it's been in my existence, right? And quite honestly, I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again since I was a child. Now, I never really paid a lot of attention to it. But the fact is that, it's there. So since being a child, I've noticed that people are able to connect. People are able to change, make things happen when they have an emotional attachment to it. I've seen people go off of drugs. I've seen people, because family members, right? I've seen people, just in every way, shape, or form, change who they are when they're emotionally attached to that change. I've seen people cure themselves or get better when they're emotionally attached to that change. And once again, even in my own life, when I was a child, I could literally make myself sick. And I think I've said this to you guys before, but when I didn't want to go to school, and it's kind of ironic because I've said this to other people, and they go, "Oh, dude, I used to do that, right?" But when I didn't want to go to school, I could literally make myself sick. I mean, I would just like physically be sick, right? Because if something happened the day before, or I just didn't feel like going, then as soon as my parents would leave, then as soon as they would leave, it's like I was better. I was able to get up, watch TV, eat some soup or something, and just feel like 100% because I was emotionally attached as a child to that thought process, to that desire, to that want. And that is really what it's all about, is being able to, as an adult, create that thought process, create that desire, that will, to do something different. And, some people have said to me, that my course of conversation these days might not seem to have a lot to do with business, but in actuality, this has everything to do with business. It has everything to do with prospering. It has everything to do with succeeding. Every aspect of our existence. What I'm explaining as of late has everything to do with your development, my development, your growth, my growth, our mutual growth and development, if you will. If you don't feel it, if you don't make it a part of you, if you don't make it a serious attachment to your emotional being, right, your subconscious, then it's not going to work as well. It's not going to flourish. Things aren't going to, come about in the manner in which that you would desire as quickly. I'm not saying it won't, but I'm saying that it just tends to happen more, faster, when we have a feeling, an emotional attachment to whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish, whatever it is that we want to do. I'm not guaranteeing you that everything is going to work out, because no one can guarantee you that. You can't guarantee yourself. But I will say to you that whether something works or doesn't work, all right, if it just is not for you at the end of the day, the thing is that that emotional attachment, that desire to develop and build, that desire to develop and create, that desire to manifest, thus creating whatever it is that your objective is, even if that thing is not for you and it doesn't work, you will morph from that into the next thing that is for you. You know, we've all learned this and we've all heard this, that the vast majority of the businesses that are, especially in this day and time, that start off one way, you know, end up being something not completely different, but vastly different from what it was, what the initial thought was. Those people just, you know, and I go down the list. And the list is always the same for the ones I know off the top of my head, which is Facebook. Facebook is 180 degrees different than what it was when it first started. They were just smart enough to make the change, right, as they saw what people wanted and desired. Same thing with you know, Amazon, Jeff Bezos thing. It wasn't, you know, it was a bookseller. That was it. It was a bookseller. And now, I mean, it is a multi-conglomerate. It's covering so many aspects of people's lives. You know, they own whatever grocery store it is. I want to say it's whatever the high-end grocery store is. Why can't I think of that right now? That's so crazy to me. But I guess it's just not that important. Trader Joe's, not Trader Joe's. Is it Trader Joe's? It might be Trader Joe's. But Whole Foods, I think that's it. So anyways, they own Whole Foods. They own, he's investing. I was just listening the other day to talk radio, and, you know, Jeff Bezos is investing in, as, you know, via Amazon, into, you know, getting into the space race. You know, they're you know, they have morphed into so many different things, but it started off as an online bookseller. Went from online bookseller to selling, you know, various other products. And it went from that to, once they developed, you know, their platform, you know, their most money creating system right now, from what I understand, is their cloud service. You know, they contract with the government, they contract with major corporations, you know, and that's where they're making the vast majority of their money. You change, right? So you start one place, it's working, but it's not working the way you want it to. So you have to be willing to change, to morph into something new and different. You have to be willing to see what is happening for you and what isn't. You can't be afraid of saying this isn't working. You can't be afraid of that. You can't be afraid of not morphing into something different. I mean, and let's face it, Amazon is a huge company. And just the surface of what you see is only a fraction, you know, the you know, people going online and buying all this stuff, or, you know, Whole Foods or whatever. That's just the surface of what they're actually doing, because they had to learn to morph and change. They had to learn that we've had success in this, but not the kind of success, you know, that we really want. So what else can we do? And we have to be willing to do that at whatever level we're at. And I believe, once again, let me get back to this, I believe that if we don't have the feeling the emotional attachment to what we're doing, to what we're putting out in the universe, be it your prayer, be it your meditation, be it your mantra, whatever it is that you want to call it, if you don't have the emotional attachment to that thought process, then it's going to be a harder way to go. We have everything we need inside of us at this very moment in time to create everything that we need in our existence, and moreover, everything that we desire beyond our needs. And I believe that with everything in me. The only reason I'm doing these calls, yes, is because I enjoyed my this whole mastermind thing. I love it. But a great part of it is because these mastermind calls will help me continue to develop me as a human being, and moreover, help me create the financial reward that I'm looking for. All right. So as I'm doing these calls, what is it doing for me? It's creating content that I can put out in the world. And the more I put it out in the world, the more people gravitate to my content, then obviously the more money I'm going to make. Make sense to you guys? It's manifestation first, right? So the thought process, feeling has to go with that thought process, an emotional attachment to it. Then the creation portion. So the creation comes from the manifestation of the thought process. Put those together and we become much more powerful. And look, please don't take Pascal's word for this stuff. I need and want and desire you all to go out and do your own due diligence, do your own research, see what people are talking about that have been preaching and teaching this stuff forever, right? I mean, if someone is out there preaching and teaching it, even if you don't necessarily agree with them 100%, see what they're talking about. Do your own due diligence. Because you're going to learn. You're going to learn as you go through the process of finding that voice that touches you, that you get that feeling from. When you find that person, that individual that resonates with you, oh my God, it's gonna light you up. A lot of people sleep on YouTube when it comes to this type of conversation about developing your business, your insight. I'm just telling you guys, there's so much good content on YouTube, including my stuff, because my stuff is good, but there's so much good content on YouTube, including mine, that I think that you guys should go out and check out. For the more religious people in this that are on this call, check out, old Reverend Ike, man. I'm telling you, you can listen to his old stuff, and you can see and listen to the development in him, the growth in him, as he grew from being a preacher, just teaching the teachings of money and so on and so forth, but how he morphed, if you will, from being a Christian preacher to being a mind science teacher utilizing the Bible. It's quite amazing to see this human being's transition from where he was at to where he ended up, prior to him passing away. Very, very, his transformation is quite amazing. The information that he was putting out is, especially near the end, the 80s, amazing content. Because when he really got into the mind science stuff, his way of breaking down the Bible is amazing. And for me, but once again, it might not be your thing. I don't know, but I'm just saying I find it to be awesome content. A lot of you guys know I'm not a Christian. I was raised that way, but I'm not. Just to keep it simple, I'm agnostic, but I just tell people I'm atheist because it just gets them off my back real quick. If you tell people, I'm agnostic, and then they go, well, what is that, and this and that, and instead of having to explain all that stuff, I just go, hey, I'm an atheist, please don't talk to me, please. I don't want to hear whatever, it just makes it simple for me. But I'm telling you that I read and listen to a lot from a lot of different belief systems because I believe that knowledge, those ancient writings, if you will, the mystic writers, if you will, have a lot of wisdom that has been placed in the Bible, placed in the Quran, placed in the Torah, placed in the Old Testament, same thing, placed in the Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, placed in Zoroastrianism, all the isms, right? Because there's a whole bunch of them. The Catholicisms and there's a lot of wisdom in that material. And honestly, a lot of these people, like the Napoleon Hills of the world, a lot of what they talk about is, it's just taken from the Bible. It's taken from, religious belief systems, but they've what's the word I'm looking for? They have taken it and they have they've secularized it, right? They've taken it and they made it more palatable to a secular world as opposed to just giving you, chapter and verse out of, some belief system or another. So that's it. There's so much knowledge out here, you guys, and that knowledge, I believe, can change every aspect of our existence. It can change our health. It can change our happiness. It can change our overall well-being, which it can also change our financial position in this life. So that's it. This moving mountains conversation that we're having, starts off with moving mountains that we run across every day in our daily life. Getting out of bed, as I mentioned last week, getting out of bed when we don't want to. For me, taking my fat ass to the park when I was exhausted and didn't feel like it, but I got up and I went. I moved that mountain, and so therefore, oh my God, I feel so much better. I'm ready for my day. But if I had laid in bed, I believe that I would still be tired right now. I would still be, very lethargic and just kind of out of it, so to speak. So I'm so happy that I said to myself, no, I'm talking about moving mountains, and I verbalized it to my wife. When she asked me, do you want to go? I said yes, because, I'm moving mountains, and I verbalized it, and I got my fat butt out of bed and put on my sweats, went to the park, and feel like a whole nother person. I'm not saying I won't take a nap later in the day, but I'm saying that at this very point in time on this call with you guys, I feel fantastic. I'm just telling you, being out in that sun, just moving and just, moving my body, working my head and my brain, I should say, was awesome. Just like awesome, awesome. Plus, my wife, she didn't jog this morning. She walked with me. And so we were able to talk about, the business I'm doing with her, which is the selling on eBay thing. And, we're making plans, making that bigger and better and so on and so forth. But it's literally starts with moving those mountains. Once again, faith is a mustard seed, right? Faith is a mustard seed. You can move a mountain. Yeah, that's I've been hearing that all my life, but no one ever really thinks about the application of that. I know I didn't. And I know all the religious people I know. We got a lot of people that are very, very, very religious in my family, and even people that call themselves pastors and preachers and whatever. And I can just tell you their lives are shitty, right? Because they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk, right? So, and there's a huge difference between that, because they verbalize a whole lot of stuff, but they don't live what they're saying. They don't live the principles of the Bible. And the principles of the Bible that they choose to even talk about, quite honestly, are the ones that are the most self-defeating. I mean, and that's just my opinion, obviously. But people are so quick in their prayers, in their verses of the Bible, to talk about the negative, the evil, the bad, not these positive things that are out there. Where once again, where I read Psalms to you, and it says that you are God, children of the Most High. I mean, the Bible is replete with verses like that. As a matter of fact, I even carry in my wallet, because I do have discussions about biblical stuff with folks, right? Because they like to have conversation with me that I don't necessarily choose to have. Excuse me, guys. But the Bible is literally replete, meaning that there's a lot of it, with verses on who you are, what you're capable of, and those for whatever reason aren't the things that these people in my family and other people that call themselves pastors, preachers, and whatever else choose to tell people. It's always the damnation stuff. It's always the the stupid ass stuff, where they're telling people how what is that verse? And it is the craziest shit to me ever, where it talks about being, and it will come to me, but it talks about being a slave, and as a slave, if your master beats you, you should let him beat you, right? Not that you deserve it, but you would be a bad slave and a bad servant unto God if you refuse the beating. When you let your master be wrong and you take the ass whooping, right? And if you don't, then you're a bad servant. I mean, come on now. People talk about that type of stuff, not the good stuff. They talk about the damnation, the this and the that. I believe that talk about the stuff. I mean, there are more verses in the Bible about money and having money than anything else in the Bible. Isn't that crazy? Right? So there are more verses, more things in the Bible about money than anything else. And that should be like crazy to you guys. That should like really make you guys start to think that, and don't take my word. Once again, please don't take Pascal's word. Please do the research. Do the research. It's crazy to me. I got that from a preacher, actually. I got that. I sent out a video to everybody where this gentleman, the guy who gave away $40 million to one of the black colleges. His name is Robert something or another. Anyways, he was sitting down talking to a pastor, and the pastor had brought that up. He said there's X amount of verses in the Bible about this, about forgiveness and this, that, and the other, X amount of verses about this other topic, and then this amount of verses about money and having money, right? And the comparisons were, I don't know, like I don't know the exact numbers. I wrote them down somewhere, but I don't know them offhand. But I'm just going to give you an example. So, like, for one thing, it was like 50 verses on forgiveness and this, that, and the other. 125 verses, on righteousness, and 600 verses on money and the possession of money, and so on and so forth. And once again, these are bullshit numbers. They're not, because I don't remember the numbers that he gave. But what I did do is I did look it up with my friend Google, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because, with Google, you can look up anything. And Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever you want. But you guys get my point? So, money is supposed to be a part of our existence. Creating in order to not only take care of our wants, needs, and desires, but also to be able to be a giving force in the world, right? Because if everyone's broke, busted, and disgusted, then how in the hell can you do anything for anybody else? You can't, because you're just as screwed up as they are. So you and me, have to understand that we need to create emotional attachments to what our desires are, move mountains out of our way, and move forward towards our objectives, right? So that we can be of service to other folks. You can't do that as a broke ass. You can't do that financially inept. You can't do it. It doesn't work. So whatever it is that you want in your life, even if it's just to position yourself so that you can go out and give your time. You might not be giving a bunch of money, but you can give your time to other individuals to help them better themselves. That in and of itself is freaking awesome. Right? And I'm not saying you have to go out and feed people. I think it's more important to teach people how to fish, right? That is a big thing in the Bible as well, right? And I believe in that. It's better to teach someone how to fish than to hand them a fish. I believe that. I believe that is the power of growth and development. That is the power of teaching. That is the power of coaching, whatever, is to teach people how to fish, because that is the most important thing. You can take someone and no matter where they're at in their life, and if you teach them how to fish, how to go after what it is that they want and desire, then you can change their life in such a dramatic way. Almost beyond comprehension, how you can change someone's existence if you teach them how, right, to manifest and create in their life what they so desire. The most powerful thing you could ever do for somebody. Now, granted, there is importance to giving somebody food. There's a lot of importance to that. There's importance to having enough so that you can give somebody, that you can feed people. There's a lot to that. But once you feed them, once you get their belly right, then I think even more important, in my opinion, is to teach that human being how they can continuously put food in their belly, put shelter over their head by teaching them your knowledge. And that's why we're having these masterminds, so that we can teach one another. I know that, and I don't really like doing all the talking, to be perfectly frank. But the importance of all of this is that, in the beginning, I'm doing all this talking, but I want you all to start joining in and sharing your knowledge, your beliefs, your thought processes, because that will help me grow and that'll help other people grow. Because I'm one human being with a certain course and path, right? With certain life experiences, and yours are going to be different than mine because you're a different person than I. And so, with that being said, you're going to have a knowledge base that it's just really different than me. And you're what you would be able to offer to me and to others that come on this Power Mastermind call would be phenomenal, would be wonderful. Because once again, I can't stress this enough, your course and path, your life is so much different than mine. What you've learned, what you've developed in your existence it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to put out. And I get back to it again. You will be able to help people if you started speaking up in these calls, right? Giving your life experiences, giving what you believe. We can start teaching people how to fish as opposed to just feeding their belly one time. So, if anybody has anything to put in the chat or have anything to add or to say, we can do that. I ran 10 minutes over because I was 10 minutes late. So, does anyone have anything they want to add?
I do. Good morning on fire. Wow, what a call today. Guess who this is?
I know who this is. This is my buddy and my partner, Denise.
Woohoo! Oh my God, I'm on fire. Love your call. It just piggybacked. I just got in 11 o'clock last night. I'm still tired. At the Think and Grow Rich tour, as some of you have heard, I'm traveling around with the Think and Grow Rich World Tour. We just got back from Scottsdale. Great resort. Oh, want to go back. But didn't get a chance to really enjoy the resort. But man, so many good nuggets. And you're talking about so many things that they talk, these speakers, they're older and they're just sharing stuff. They're just giving us stuff. And so later on today, I'm going to share some of this stuff as I normally do when I get back to let you know we're at the Think and Grow Rich first world tour. And that was amazing. And you spoke on that as well. But I'm going to say this real quick because I've got to get to a client, and I know everybody's been on the call for a while. So what a man, and we're talking about mankind, what a man can conceive, most importantly, believe it can achieve. And so what does it cost you? What does it cost you to believe? Absolutely nothing. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about myself as well. So this is not a judgment call. This is your belief system. Pascal talked about moving mountains. This morning, I decided, like Pascal, I'm going to get on my bike. I got my weights out of the garage, and I started lifting weights, riding my bike. I got 5 miles today. I'm going to continue to do that. That's going to be my mountain, as he called today. My achievements every single week. I've been wanting to start it since January. And I said, you need to get off your lazy butt and get this going. Because it's got to start somewhere. Start with a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm going to do an hour. And I'm like, I don't have an hour. All right, 20 minutes. 20 minutes got me 5 miles, got me started. You got to begin to start doing something, even if it's little steps, because those little steps become bigger steps, and then it just catapults you forward. So many nuggets that you had today, takeaway. Oh my God, so many things that mainly the mind is just amazing, and what you put into it and what you bring out of it, it manifests. So once you believe, it will be achieved because you believe it. The other thing is in that belief system, we have an associate that she was diagnosed, she was going to die in the less than 12 months. Nice thing, she had a nice life insurance policy. She was able to accelerate it, and she got X amount of dollars, thousands and thousands of dollars. So she had that in place. She's part of our business. So what ended up happening was she told the doctor, I'm terminal. She had breast cancer, fourth stage of breast cancer. And she says, don't you dare tell me when you expect me to die. When you expect me to die. Because, see, I don't believe I'm going to die. I'm going to go on and do greater things. So don't tell me what you think my life expectancy is left. This past April, this happened last year, this past April, she's in remission. She didn't die. She did collect her money because the doctor put in the order because in his belief, she was going to die. She believed she wasn't. Well, she beat the doctor. She's alive today. She's telling us the story. She's allowed us to share her story, is why I'm able to do that. And she didn't die. Why? Because she believed. She believed. If she would have given in to woe is me, and the doctor would have said, which she never knew to this day, she does not know what that time frame he was going to give her. But if he would have said, you have 6 months, and she would have bought into that, she would be dead today. She would absolutely be dead today because she would have believed what he thought based on statistics. Whatever you believe is going to manifest, not what somebody else tells you or what you allow into your spirit to say, this person is telling me this. You are in control of your life, not somebody else. That's what God gave us the spirit for. And whatever you want to call that higher power, even as Pascal says, he's not in any type of religion or whatever. He calls himself an atheist. But let me tell you, he believes in a higher power. Everybody believes in a higher power. That is the one common thing that all the religions have. Call it whatever name you want to call it, but it's a higher power. And that spirit has been given to us to believe. And the problem with that belief system is that we believe as children, and then the world gets to us as we grow up and grow up and grow up. And if we stop and do not allow those negative filters to enter into our mind, and decide today, July 1st, we have 6 months left for this year. July 1st, I am no longer going to allow anybody to tell me or dictate or anything else to me that's negative, that's not going to make anything, what they say, positive in my life. Cut it out. Sometimes that has to be family members. I have 4 siblings. I cut them out of my life. Why? They are negative and toxic, and I'm just not going to allow it. Now, if you want to come back in and be positive, more than happy. But right now, it's not serving me. And I need positive in my life because when you start allowing all that negative to come in, it starts breaking you down. How are you going to tell me how I'm going to look, how I'm going to act, how I'm going to feel, how much money I'm going to make? We allow these things. We go to a job and say, you're worth $15 an hour. I'm worth more than that. You got to believe that you're worthy. God doesn't make almost. He makes utmost. He's our just God. He's our perfect, infinite God. He doesn't make trash. He kicked out Lucifer out of heaven because he was acting a fool.
Now, so that applies to those of you who believe in that.
That's all our belief systems. But yet, we allow that Lucifer to get into our brains. We allow people in our family to get in our brains. We allow friends that don't pay our bills, don't do anything for us but criticize sometimes. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're crazy for doing that. Okay, why? Because they're not able to do it, so they put that on to you. Stop. There are friends we just need to leave off to the side. You can still be friends with them, but stop taking their opinion. Stop taking constructive criticism. Excuse me. Stop taking constructive criticism from people who haven't constructed a damn thing. Stop. As you can tell, I'm passionate. I came off the tour. Now you're speaking of this. I'm going to go to the office tomorrow, and they're going to give me some more. And I'm just, I'm tired. I'm tired of the nonsense. And when I'm speaking of this, I'm speaking to myself as well. And just to say, we just got to start believing in yourself. It takes, and I'm going to probably quote this wrong, but you can look it up as your friend Google, as he said, 1.7 million or billion sperm cells, and you won. Out of all of them, one. Unless you're a twin or a triplet, whatever, you won. You're here for a reason. Don't let this life rob you from other people who don't get it. You are important. You are here for a purpose. Find that purpose. Believe in what you want to do, that you've put your dreams off to the side because people have squashed them. Screw that. Bring it back. Get started. But get started. We have so much at our disposal. It's not like when we were first born in the 70s, 80s, or whatever, 60s, Pascal in the 90s. We allow these things to rob ourselves. We have so much at our disposal, it ain't funny. And now we don't even take advantage of that because we lazy. Oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that. I'll do it tomorrow, whatever. Stop the procrastination. Let's get off our rear ends. Let's get this going. Let's start this movement. Believe. Think, believe. What a man can conceive, mankind, what a man can conceive and believe, believe, it can achieve. And I'm going to leave you at that. If not, we're going to keep going and going. Oh, I want to say one last thing. Make sure you guys are on this call. Invite people next Monday. Everything I'm going to be sharing with Pascal, he's going to give you 3 nuggets from my Think and Grow Rich tour. We got to pass this on. We got to share this knowledge. We're going to be in Dallas in the next couple of months. We're going to take a break here for a moment. We've got a couple of things going on to catch up on, but get on the next call. He's going to give you a few nuggets in what you can do to increase your business, things that are free, things that are just costing $10 a month, things that are costing like $30 per year that will help you in your business move forward. I'm going to share those things with Pascal. I'm here at my client. I got to go make some money. So you guys have an amazing day. Pascal, thank you so much for these calls every single week. I try to get on them, and if I don't, listen to the recordings. But really, live on the call, you get that message firsthand, and then you can circle back around and hear it again. You're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Take notes. Always be on the call with a notebook and a pen and writing down your notes, because the first thought that comes into your mind may not come again. And it happens to me all the time. I'm like, fine, I'm driving and I can't write it down. But thankfully there's the recording calls. So thank you for recording these and sending them back out to us. They're so important. As you can tell, I'm on fire again. I'm ready to go. And really, really appreciate this call today. I'm a little tired, but I'll catch up with you in a couple of hours, and go ahead and end your call, and don't forget to give out your number.
Thank you. I won't. Okay, everybody, that's the end of the call, and I see Dr. B, you're on the phone, and I really appreciate you coming on the call as well. You're always on the call. So that's it. That's all. And if no one else has anything to add or say, we're going to get off this call. Thank you guys once again for coming on the call. And if you guys want to reach out to me, you can always do so, 951-515-4728. And I really appreciate everybody coming on the call. It's growing, and And, I really believe that you guys are getting something out of it, or else you wouldn't be on the call. So thank you so much. And like Denise said, if you know somebody that you think would enjoy coming on the call, please, please, please add them. Ask them, tell them to go to PowerMondayMastermind.com, sign up for the call. Or you can even just, when you get the email link sent to you, you can just, send them the link. Just email it over to them. And that's it. Thank you guys so much. I'm serious biz. I really appreciate you all being on the call, and more than you can imagine. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll talk next week. Thank you.